Welcome back to Harmonized Spirits. I am Christopher Wolfingspirit. So in our last transmission, we pulled back the veil on the spiritual community itself. We looked at the false light matrix, the trap of spiritual bypassing, and how traditional energy lineages can become distorted when teachers build parasitic guru dynamics instead of empowering their students. Today, we are mapping the antidote. We are defining the blueprint of the new paradigm. We are talking about the Sovereign Practitioner. The era of the fragile, ungrounded, starving healer is officially over. For decades, the mainstream wellness world has conditioned sensitive people to believe that to be spiritual, you must be passive. They have taught you that boundaries are unloving, that charging premium rates for your life-changing medicine is greedy, and that you must constantly sacrifice your own nervous system to save others. True masters know that this is not a sacred path. It is a codependent loop. It is a slow form of energetic suicide. A sovereign practitioner does not play defense against the world. They do not beg for validation, and they do not operate from a place of scarcity. A sovereign practitioner is a multi-dimensional architect who commands their environment, values their energetic output, and runs their spiritual practice with the precision of a royal science. Today, we are going to look at the exact behavioral, financial, and energetic codes required to step out of the archetype of the wounded healer and claim your position as an empowered leader of the next evolutionary wave. Let's look at the mechanical difference between the old paradigm of healing and the code of sovereignty. The old paradigm runs on the archetype of the wounded healer. The wounded healer uses their practice to fulfill an unconscious need to be needed. Because they haven't fully retrieved their own soul fragments or integrated their own shadows, they look for validation through their clients. They try to fix everyone around them because they cannot sit with the discomfort of their own internal space. Mechanically, the wounded healer operates as a passive channel. They open their crown, let the energy pour through, and because they lack shamanic grounding, they absorb the client's debris. They leave the session exhausted, bleeding energy, and struggling to stabilize their own physical reality. The new paradigm demands that you step into the archetype of the sovereign leader. A sovereign leader does not heal out of a need for validation. They operate out of an overflow of absolute wholeness. They have done the heavy lifting in their lower worlds. They have cleared the false light and established their own column of power. When a sovereign leader steps into the room, they do not act as a passive straw that anyone can drink from. They act as an active, conscious director of frequency. They use the precise geometry of their lineage to build an unbreakable, high-voltage container. They do not take on the client's pain. They create a field so intensely calibrated that the client's trauma has no choice but to melt and reorganize itself. You are no longer saving them. You are holding a mirror of absolute structural integrity until their system remembers how to heal itself. To bring this sovereignty down into the physical matrix of your daily business, your daily life, you must anchor your practice on 3 immutable pillars. The first pillar is radical autonomy. A sovereign practitioner never fosters dependency. If a client has been coming to you every single week for 2 years to have the exact same emotional knot cleared, you are not empowering them. You are enabling them to be an energetic addiction. Your job is to hand them the keys to their own multidimensional architecture. You teach them how to ground, how to seal their field, and how to activate their own life force. Success means your students no longer need you because they have become the masters of their own domain. The second pillar is financial alignment. Let's break the poverty consciousness of the spiritual community once and for all. Money is not dirty. Money is a middle world representation of energetic exchange. When you spend decades doing the shadow work, mastering symbols, and calibrating your nervous system to hold massive cosmic voltage, your time is an elite commodity. If you undercharge out of fear or guilt, you create an energetic deficit. You starve your own roots. A sovereign practitioner charges premium rates because they understand the absolute worth of the transformation they deliver. They do not barter their medicine, they trade in clean, mutual respect. The third pillar is nervous system sovereignty. You cannot channel high-degree cosmic blueprints if your physiology and physical biology is fried. Your body is the step-down transformer for the universe. A sovereign practitioner treats their sleep, their nutrition, and their daily psychic cleansing as non-negotiable rituals. If your physical vessel is depleted, your channel becomes foggy and vulnerable to astral distortion. You must have the sovereignty to say no to clients when your field is full, protecting your battery so that when you do step into the room, your presence is absolute. I had to learn this pillar the hard way, and I want to share this openly because it was the single hardest illusion I had to shatter in my own practice. For the longest time, when I was navigating the early stages of my path, I fell completely for the trap of the starving mystic. I subconsciously and even consciously believed that if I charged high premium rates for my energy work, I was somehow corrupting the medicine. I thought that to be a pure channel, I had to be absolutely accessible to everyone at all times, even if it meant my own bank account was constantly draining and my stress levels were declining or even inclining. The turning point came when I looked at the actual mechanics of the exchange. I realized that by charging single-digit, low-ticket rates for single sessions, I wasn't actually helping people change. I was attracting clients who wanted me to wave a magic wand over their problems for an hour, but who had zero skin in the game. They weren't doing the daily integration work, they weren't practicing the sovereignty. The moment I stepped into my true name as Christopher Wolfingspirit, I made a radical decision. I completely dismantled the single-session, low-ticket model, and I built an elite, high-ticket mentorship container. I stopped charging for my time and started charging for total architectural rewrite of the soul. And you know what happened? The entire frequency of my practice shifted overnight. The casual seekers who just wanted to consume my energy instantly fell away. In their place stepped two true initiates, committed, high-level leaders who were ready to invest heavily in their own evolution. Because they had serious skin in the game, they showed up to the container fully activated, doing the shadow work and achieving breakthroughs that blew my mind. By raising my standards and aligning my finances with my actual energetic worth, I didn't just stabilize my own life, I completely elevated the results of my students. I proved that wealth is not a corruption of the light. It is the fuel that allows a sovereign architect to expand their kingdom and anchor the medicine permanently onto the planet. So let me show you exactly what this looks like in practice. Let's walk through a scenario that every practitioner faces, the client who crosses the line. Imagine a client who continuously texts you at 11 o'clock at night, sending paragraphs of emotional distress, begging for immediate advice and expecting you to step into their chaos outside of your scheduled container. The old paradigm healer reacts from fear. They feel guilty, they worry about being unspiritual, so they respond. They drain their sleep, cross their own boundaries, and feed the client's codependency. Here is how the Sovereign Practitioner operates. The moment that late night notification hits, you do not feel a spike of anxiety. You do not absorb their panic. You drop down into your earth seed, keeping your nervous system completely smooth. You look at the situation with profound, cold compassion. The next morning, from a place of absolute calm authority, you set the boundary. You do not offer an emotional apology. You do not make excuses. You look them in the eye, or you send a clear, structured communication. I hold a sacred high vibrational container for your transformation during our scheduled sessions. Outside of those hours, my field is closed so that I can maintain the integrity of the medicine. I will see you at our scheduled time, where we will actively train your system to stabilize this exact triggers yourself. In the unseen dimension, you have just placed a golden geometric wall between your field and their chaos. You have refused to let them hook into your solar plexus. And look at what happens to the client. Instead of feeling abandoned, their system subconsciously registers your strength. They realize that they cannot manipulate your field. For the first time, they are forced to lean into their own feet, look at their own shadow, and step up into their own sovereignty. By holding your boundary, you didn't just protect yourself, you gave them the greatest spiritual transmission of their life. So let's do a critical diagnostic check on your current practice and your life. Now look honestly at your daily loops and see where you are still operating under the old wounded codes. First, look at your client list. Are you attracting clients who want an energetic band-aid, or are you attracting initiates who want a total architectural rewrite? If your clients constantly complain about your pricing, skip sessions, or refuse to do the personal integration work you have assigned them, it is because you are marketing to their wounds instead of speaking to their sovereignty. Second, look at your physical health. Do you experience chronic fatigue, weird physical ailments, or intense headaches after teaching or doing energy work? If yes, that is the biological warning light that your 3-point alignment is uncalibrated. You are giving away your personal life force instead of channeling the infinite source. Third, look at your bank account. Is your spiritual work providing you with absolute freedom, abundance, and the resources to expand your platform? Or are you constantly stressed about how to survive the next month? Scarcity is a distortion of the root chakra. You cannot lead a community into power while standing in a position of financial collapse. If you find yourself failing any of these checks, do not drop into shame. Celebrate the awareness. You have just identified the exact leaks that are keeping you from stepping into your true lineage authority. As we close the 6th transmission, I invite you to make a definitive choice today. Are you going to continue walking the path of the exhausted, bleeding healer? Or are you ready to claim your title as a sovereign practitioner? Are you ready to build a business and a life that commands respect, holds absolute integrity, and radiates power? The world does not need more sponges. The world is crying out for architects. If you are ready to completely rewrite your internal software, plug your energetic leaks, master premium financial alignment, and step into the royal science of the hybrid path, your gate is open. The doors to our Reiki Shamanism initiation opened this August 8th, 2026. This is where we gather the leaders, the masters, and the sovereign spirits who are ready to build empires of light with unshakable earth foundations. Click the link in the show notes below and step inside the Harmonized Spirits community right now. I am Christopher Wolfingspirit. Thank you for choosing the path of mastery with me today. Until next time, stand in your sovereignty.